Do you ever feel like the day gets away from you before you've even had a chance to have your coffee? If you're ever wondering how some people seem to crush all of their goals while others feel stuck on a hamster wheel, I'm beginning to learn that it all comes down to how you start your day. Let's talk about aligning your mornings with your purpose so that you can stay on track with your goal. Mornings are funny. They can be either the most peaceful, grounding part of your day or the most chaotic. For me, I realized one day I was stuck in a pattern of rushing all the time. My family used to say I was like a tornado in the morning. Looking back, I think I was in reacting mode. I always felt like I was behind. Does this sound familiar to anyone? Einstein had a theory we refer to as Einstein time. It basically says that time is not just numbers on a clock, it's relative to our awareness or our perception of it. So that way it's abundant. We have as much of it as we create for ourselves, and we can have as much of it as we like. If you ever had a moment where you felt like time slowed down, where you were so wrapped up in something or maybe someone that you just lost track of time. For my fellow creatives, it's that moment when you're in flow, where you're working on something that you enjoy so much it doesn't feel like work, and 4 hours feels like 1 hour. You're working through the night, it's now 5 a.m., and you don't even feel tired. That's the kind of time that we're talking about when we say Einstein time. The opposite of Einstein time is Newtonian time. That's the one I think most of us are familiar with, where time is finite, it's limited. It causes a sense of urgency and stress, making us feel like we have to be hurrying, like the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. Now, I could talk about Einstein time versus Newtonian time for much longer, so we'll get into that another day. But basically what I realized was that I was living in Newtonian time, and it wasn't serving me. It wasn't serving me, it wasn't serving my health, and it definitely wasn't serving my goals. Have you ever heard the saying that how you start your day is how you set up your energy for everything else? I think it was a video a while back about making your bed in the morning so that you can guarantee that you've accomplished at least one thing on your schedule. Do you remember that video? I shared a message last week about intention. If your goal really is to stay aligned with your long-term vision, it really does start with intention, even before your feet hit the floor in the morning. It's like planting a seed in a garden. You just can't scatter them everywhere and hope for the best. You have to plant them with care. Water them, put them in a place where you know that they'll grow. Mornings are the place where you plant the seed for the rest of your day. So for me, I started to work on a simple 3-step process that I call pause, prioritize, and proceed. The first step is pause. Before the noise of the world creeps in, I spend 15 to 30 minutes in stillness. No apps, no emails, no social media. My Bible is on my phone, so I'm not exactly completely getting rid of my phone, but I've trained my mind to not open those apps first. It does take a lot of intentionality not to click any of those buttons. But what I do in that time varies. Sometimes I'll breathe, sometimes I'll pray, sometimes I'll stretch, sometimes I'll hum a song that comes to mind. Lately, I'm reflecting more on a single question, like what's one thing I want to accomplish today? How do I want to show up for today? Or how has this week been going so far? And how can I improve for the next week? That brings me to the second step, prioritize. Once I'm clear on what I want to show up as, I make a mental or actual list of the top 3 things that really matter today. Not the 12 things on your to-do list, but the things that move the needle towards your purpose. Last is proceed. This is the action phase. I think about how I want to approach the day with energy, focus, and intention. I might even write a little note in my journal or on a Post-it note to remind myself throughout the day of what I want to be focused on. And it could be something short, like today I want to lead with clarity and kindness. And I just put it on a Post-it note and put it where I see it. Or in the beginning of my journal, I put it in a place where I'll be looking back at it throughout the course of the day. Full transparency, it doesn't always go perfectly. Absolutely not. But life is messy and I'm human. But the mornings when I follow this process feel so much more aligned with my purpose than the mornings where I'm just continuing to hit the snooze button and reacting all day long. So here's my question for you. How do you currently show up and start your day? Is it intentional or reactive? What small shift could you make tomorrow to feel more aligned with your goals and your purpose? Because here's the thing. We don't control what's going to happen throughout the day, but we can control how we enter it and how we respond. And when you start from a place of purpose, even the messiest days feel a little more meaningful. So try this tomorrow. Start your day with just 2 minutes of pause. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? Then decide on your priorities before you even touch your phone, before you get out of bed and your feet hit the ground. Feel free to share your morning routine tips so that we can learn from each other. As Stephen Covey said, I'm not a product of my circumstances, I'm a product of my decisions. Your decisions today and every morning have a bigger effect on who you become than anything else. I'm Georgiana Haynes, and this is your Boss Blueprint.